promise less than 1 month to get this thing ready to go back to NCM and make some magic happen. And I'm having to just go ahead and go all out with the final prep that needs to be done before the car is ready to hit the track again. And currently, I am working on installing the Volvo Electric Power Steering. That's absolutely essential to get working before we hit the track again. So let's just continue where I left off here.
As a disclaimer, I'll have you know I'm not actually starting from zero here. I deleted the stock power steering pump pulley and reservoir a few months back. I just capped off the lines and ran quote-unquote manual steering for a little while. Unfortunately, it's hardly sufficient for a road course car, which is the main reason for me taking this on. It's difficult to see here, but I'm loosening the connections to the rack so I can replace them with new lines that I'm going to run to the back of the car, which is where I'll be mounting my new unit.
I could take off the entire intake manifold, but unless it's absolutely necessary, I'd rather not, so I'm not going to. I feel like I can unscrew the rest of the way with my hand. That's if my hand could... My hand's not getting down there. Ow. I got it. Needs to be a little more loosened before it's gonna come out, apparently.
If you're determined to not remove the intake manifold like I was, you may find it pretty difficult to maneuver your wrist while holding tools.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, well, that works. All right, I've got both of the lines disconnected without having to remove the intake manifold. Huge win. May cap these off. Let's install the new fittings. I'll worry about removing these old lines afterwards. Oh shoot. I think I lost track of the O-ring just now. That's right here.
I'm converting the ports on the steering rack to -6 AN fittings. The pressure side is M14 by 1.5 metric, and the return side is M16 by 1.5, also metric of course.
Oh yeah. I need some Teflon tape just in case.
If you're doing this job, use an ample amount of Teflon tape, more than I'm seen using here. I couldn't get a good angle with the camera of me threading them in, but it was difficult to get eyes on them as well. I felt my way through a lot of this part.
Okay, so that's one side. I had to order the second AN fitting. Sheesh. I don't need this. Maybe 18 or 19. Let's try 18 first. Oh, there we go, yep. All right, just gonna stretch across the entire car.
Don't do this. Don't use push lock fittings on the ends of your lines. Instead, use something like this. This is a nitrous line made by a company called Russell. It is a -6 AN hose capable of upwards of 1,000 psi of pressure, which will be necessary on the pressure side between the rack and the pump. These lines are a good option because they're pre-built and unlikely to fail, but you could also build proper PTFE lines with a sufficient pressure rating. Now, did I first use push lock fittings to show you what would happen if you did? Sure, let's go with that.
Okay. This will be interesting to say the least. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it up from the bottom middle. So I'm sort of kind of following the instructions from Tunes and Tunes channel. Let me shine a light here. I think rather than putting the holes here, I'm gonna put them a little lower, about right here. Simply because there's less a chance of hitting what's on the other side. Well, this isn't a good angle to look from. Actually, I don't know. Actually, I do know. Yeah, I'll have more room if I just aim a little lower. I really do just have to go for it at this point. I have broken multiple of these, which is very sad. So right here's what I'm thinking. One more look on the other side. just for good measure. Yeah, gotta put the holes right here. All right, let's try here. Goodness, come on. Okay, got a hole there. Let's review our progress on the other side. That's actually perfect. I may just go ahead and use my big boy. Right here is where I need a hole. It's not staying still. This is gonna be interesting. It's a little premature. Let's use a larger one of these.
I spent quite a bit of time drilling, mostly out of paranoia. This part could have gone quicker if I were more patient at the time.
Okay. It's a little more. Maybe I make a third point. It's tough. Come on. Maybe it's enough. Still don't know. No, okay. I don't want to break the bit. Didn't break the bit. Let's try this. Brilliant. Come on. Looks terrible now, that's great. Not that it matters that much, but seriously. This thing dances around so much. Stay still. Try again. That's a hole. Maybe worth making pretty wide. What does it look like down low? Okay, I have some room. How deep in are we? Oh, we've got room. We're fine. Just point it down. All right. Should be a 0 gauge hole. I have an assortment of grommets here. Oh yeah, this is gonna work. Okay, let's pull from the other side. That's all the leeway I have, so I'm gonna have to buy more of this stuff. That's what I thought. Just got a little tangled up. Still may need more of this, but... Wait, it got wrapped up. Where's the loop? You don't want loops. Now I'm gonna take my grommet. Where's my flashlight? I've got grommets like these in the firewall of the car, protecting the 0 gauge wires going from the trunk to the bus bars in the engine bay. This is perfect. The fitment is at least near perfect. Okay, there we go. It's in. It's going one way.
It shouldn't have, but it took me months to figure out where I wanted to mount the pump. There isn't enough room in the engine bay as it currently is, and it would be a whole nother project trying to make that space. I can't weld custom brackets, but I did find a spot in the hatch where I could use 3 super long lugs with washers and nuts to suspend the unit a couple inches in the air. It merely required that I remove the outer bracket that came with the pump, so I ran to the hardware store for super long bolts that matched the thread pitch. I'm pretty sure these were M8 by 1.25 metric bolts. I can't remember the exact length I chose, I think 80 to 100 millimeters. With a little bit of trial and error, I did figure out where its new home would be and get it secured. Then it was on to wiring.
I came out here to make sure that I did have the wiring I needed for the CAN bus controller, and I do. And I guess I just have to sheath it. Granted, I'm glad it's long and all, but where did these wires go? One is signal, 2 are for the CAN bus, I'm pretty sure. But the one thing that I'm confused about is Is there something else that I'm supposed to have? I don't know. The answer was yes. Don't mind the mess. This is the control device that will allow me to control the feedback of the pump. Oh, this will be fun. I could mount this in my center console. I will loom this, and I'll just, send this towards the front. For now, I'll just set it here. I had it backwards. Got quite a bit of this, which is pretty nice. All right, this is gonna be interesting. Give myself a little extra just in case. Check that out. So to control the feedback of the power steering pump via CAN bus, I just use this thing. I just realized I could have just done this from the back and probably made it less ugly. I mean, it's pretty on there. I have to extend these wires to make it properly functional. To give you an idea how to look. Here's a rough mock-up. And I can add other buttons.
Soon, the other rack fitting came in, and I was able to finish plumbing the hoses to and from the pump. In this first iteration, I used a 90-degree CPE fitting on the pressure side of the pump, but I'll reiterate here that I don't recommend this and would later instead use it on the rack side of the return hose. On the pump side, the return hose is merely a clamp that looks like a fitting. I almost forgot to mention that the pressure port of the pump also needed to be converted. I used a Fregola Performance M16 by 1.5 metric adapter fitting to make it compatible with my -6 AN lines. Meanwhile, time to drill that second hole.
I think I'm out of the size I need, which puts me in a unique situation. Let's try this out of curiosity. I know this is ghetto. You don't need to tell me, but bear with me. How about that?
The pump will draw power from my rear-mounted battery, with an 80 amp breaker switch between them. I simply grounded the pump to the chassis. I need to extend the CAN bus wires to run under the floor mat to the center console. I use solder and heat tape to keep things tidy.
So I kind of closed this up prematurely. It's not the end of the world though. I just still need to wire the signal wire to activate the pump.
The signal wire will be activated by an available output on my PDM.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so I chose the one oh yeah, it is output 8. Output 8, Volvo EPS. I only need a 12 volt signal, so I'm gonna give it 2 amps. This should be fine. Okay, so it should immediately fire up because I'm just turning it on. So let's see if it does it. Inrush current must be greater than or equal to out. Oh, right. And I don't want it running excessively with nothing in there either. 2 and 2. All right, it should come on immediately. Yep, it came on. I heard something spray. I think I have a leak, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to check that. Let's see if it sprayed anything anywhere, because that would not be nice. Okay, it doesn't look like it sprayed anything anywhere. I'm gonna try it again. I don't think I can hurt it by running it dry. Maybe I can. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, turning it on. Give it a second. It's not coming up. That's weird. Use client data. Make okay, so it works. I don't think the CAN bus is working for the controller. If there is any fluid in the rack and it's pushing it, then maybe I'm hearing a bit of it. So I think it's time to go ahead and put in the power steering fluid. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this reservoir and see if we get any leaks. I don't have enough of this to fill it all the way, I'm realizing. I'm gonna have to go buy more. Oh wait, it's mostly full. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see how it does. It's now full. Now I need to fill the lines and the rack. Moment of truth. Let's start up. Let's see how it feels. Oh! Let me see if I've got any leaks from anywhere. It's making a little bit of a funny noise, but I'm not seeing a leak here in the back. Checking under the car. Oh shoot, I'm leaking up front. I'm leaking a ton up front. Oh shoot. Yikes. I leaked right onto the ground. I probably sprayed all over the back of my engine bay, my new wiring. Oh no. The pressure side in the engine bay popped off and it sprayed fluid. I should have known. Okay, so here's the thing. I think the problem is that I used a push lock fitting at the power steering rack. All right, we're switching to this for the pressure side rack fitting and pump fitting, I believe. Here I have a 12-foot 6AN nitrous line. And I got this idea from Mic. It should serve my purposes for the pressure side of the line. Now, I did already order another one of these, and it was literally just a couple feet too short. So I'm now removing the 10-foot hose in favor of the 12. Under the car. Now, got solid pressure side connection, return side at the pump. Go to the grommets down here. through the trunk, travels all the way under the car to where we started. I took the CPE fitting that I had here previously and put it on the return side up front. The pressure side is connected at the power steering rack with a 90-degree fitting exactly like this is here. Now to put in fluid and to see if it works. I'm using Redline. Saw on the forums that it was recommended, so not just some generic power steering fluid this time. I'm gonna have to fill the rack and the pump. First I'm gonna fill the pump, check to see if I have any immediate leaks, then I'll turn it on and see if it needs anything more. Okay, snuck up on me a bit there. Going ahead and closing the top. I'm going to enable the circuit and enable the main switch now. Give it a second. Ooh, yikes! Turning off. Confused. It's leaking again. Okay, that's not ideal. So I accidentally pumped a bit of air into the pump, which is why it's a little bit of a mess here. Doing a great job making a mess so far, but what I'm gonna do is transfer fluid from the pump back into the Redline container so I can reuse it. I think my problem is I need to use more Teflon tape on the adapter fitting, and that's on the pressure side. It seems to just be that it has a minor leak. Hopefully minor. There will be no leaks this time. I'm gonna manually turn the wheel. Yeah, there's a difficult spot right here in the middle that I'm having to fight against. Ah, sheesh. I suppose it's also possible I have air in the system. Okay. Come on, turn off. Okay. So I think I did, in fact, find my problem. I had the lines backwards at the rack. I have now switched them. I haven't even turned on the pump yet. I've got absolutely zero resistance. All right. There we go. There we go. What about the controller? Well, nothing there. It works now. I had it backwards. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to now top this off, put the wheels on the ground, and make sure it still works. Activating. Fuel pump. Power steering pump. Left. It's incredible. The cam controller isn't working, so clearly I did that wrong, but that can be fixed. It's almost time for our test drive.
I'd really like to get the feedback controller working, but I'm on a time crunch. Without it, the pump feedback is locked at 75%, but that should be just fine to get me by. Certainly better than no power steering at all. Stay tuned to see it in action.